I'm Maddire Memory Maker. Today I'm going to show you a step-by-step tutorial on how to turn your journal making kit into your very own themed junk journal. Feel free to pause this video when necessary to give yourself more time. And remember, junk journals are perfectly imperfect, so don't let perfectionism get in your way of creating something unique and special. With that being said, good luck with your creation and welcome to the channel. Let's make a junk journal. Okay, let's go through everything that is inside of your journal kit. There's a needle, a thimble, some paper clips for adding some extra journaling cards, a trusty pen because we all need more pens, and enough string to make 2 signatures. We got 2 envelopes, and of course our fabric, 1 piece for the interior of our journal and 1 piece for the exterior of our journal. We also have a sheet of music paper so we can do a collage, our box board and our box board spine. There is 40 pages in your pack, which means there's going to be 20 pages per signature, and this is a 2 signature journal. Here is our DigiKit, and here are the things that you will need in order to complete this kit. You need a ruler so that way we can measure. You need some sort of tacky glue or fabric glue to glue down your fabric. PVA glue just isn't strong enough. Scissors, of course, because we're going to be doing a lot of cutting. And lastly, masking tape. This is to join our box board together. Are you guys ready? Let's start. First steps first, we need to measure our box board. This is A4, so it's going to be 29.7 centimeters. That divided by 2 is 14.85. So just try and mark roughly where it is on your box board. Join those 2 dots together, and that is going to be your cut line. Get your scissors now and cut. Boom, separated. Now we have to add in our journal spine. This is going to go onto the middle, just like this. Make sure there is a nice gap in between though, and they're not touching. This is that way it will fold in half nicely without any issues. You should be able to fit a ruler roughly on the inside of each piece. Make sure you adjust it if anything comes a little bit wobbly or moves. Let's now stick our masking tape. Obviously we want to make it longer than the box board itself so it can wrap around. We're going to flip over our box board once it's stuck down like that, gently picking it up. Perfect. Now we're going to fold up these flaps as well. 1, 2, and then we're going to grab another piece of masking tape. And repeat. Sticking it down like so, flipping it over, and folding down the flaps. This is going to make it nice and strong and make sure that it stays together. Next we want to grab our ruler and we just want to press into that crevice just to make sure that the sticky tape actually sticks to one another and it helps the journal fold. Just slide it through, but be gentle, you don't want to break the masking tape. Now we have our skeleton, we can set it aside. Okay, so now we need to tackle our paper. There should be 40 pieces in your pack, so you can go ahead and you can just fold them in half if you're happy to have them the way that they are, or you can do something else with your paper to make it a little bit more exciting. For my journals, I like to use instant coffee. It gives it a nice vintage look, and personally it is something that a lot of people in the journaling community do because it is so beautiful. You can get some really nice patterns. If you would like to use this option, I'll show you now how to achieve it. You want to grab a really cheap instant coffee. This is the tin that I have. There's no specific brand, just grab the cheapest one you can find. You're only after the color. You want it to be able to stain your paper, and any coffee will do that. You need some warm water and a brush. Now pour in your instant coffee and give it a good mix. It's okay if there's some fallout, the water will clean it up later. Give it a good mix so there's no bumps or lumps in your coffee mixture, and start spreading it all around on your paper. Already you guys can see that it's starting to turn color. And once it's completely saturated, you can go ahead and add some more. The more you add, the darker it will be. Now let this dry in between layers. If you like it like that, you can leave it as it is. This is my page after one layer. You can fold it if you're happy with it as it is, or you can go ahead and add some more coffee to make it a little bit more darker. As I said, the more you add, the darker it's going to become. And this is where you can get a little bit creative as well and do your own sort of patterns on the paper to see how it turns out in the end. This was how my paper turned out after it was completely dry, and how awesome is that? I love it so much. Once you've got all your paper done, whether it's blank, white or coffee stained, fold them all in half. These are the pages that are going to make up your signature. Now we need to get 20 pages per signature, so go ahead and count them. Now I decided I'm going to do half-half. I've got 20 pages of white paper and I've got 20 pages of coffee stained. So I would like to actually alternate that and do 10 of each. So now I need to count out 10 of each color. This is optional, you can do whatever you like. So now I have 10 of each. I'm going to stick these together and alternate the colors. Going with coffee and then blank, coffee and then blank. And repeat. Once you have your signature made, put it to the side. Now we need to make our next signature. Repeating that process again. Now look at that, voila! Here we go. We have 2 signatures now. These are what are going to be sewn into our box board to make the pages of our junk journal. Now open up one of your signatures to the center page and grab your ruler. You want the ruler to be flush with the bottom of your page. Grab your pen and put a dot on the center line, the crease in the middle. You want to do the exact same thing on the top as well, making sure it's flush against the edge of your paper. So now we have 2 dots, we want to put a dot in the middle. So make sure you're lining up your ruler again to the very bottom of the page. And then we want to go to roughly 12. That is where we want our center dot to be. Once you've got 3 dots, that is complete. You now can move on to your next signature and open it to the center and do the exact same. You only need to do dots on the center page. Once your dots are done, we can get our needle and our thimble if you need it, and we can punch our holes. This part is very, very important because you want to make sure that all of your pages are aligned and all of the corners are together. Go ahead and pinch your paper like so and use both hands so you have all the support you need. For me, I don't use a thimble for this part because it kind of gets in the way. I like to really feel what it is that I'm doing. Grab your needle and go through the center hole. Flip your page over so you can use the weight of your hands to really push that needle through, but be careful with this one. You do not want to stab yourself as you cannot see the needle on its way through. Press, 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 and there we go. Our needle is through. We now need to do the top hole. Again, make sure your pages are flush and they haven't moved. You want them all to be exactly the same. Make sure you're pinching the edges so that way your paper stays together as you punch your holes. And pushing, there we go, squeezing it out. That's 2 holes done. Now we need to do our last hole. Pinch your paper again nice and tight, making sure everything is aligned. Grab your needle, flip over your page to add a little bit of weight and push on through. There we go, we now have our 3 holes. Amazing, so now we have our holes punched in our first signature. We want to do the exact same for our second signature, making sure those pages are aligned. This is a sped up time lapse, so don't worry. The pacing will go back to normal very soon. And done. We now have 2 signatures with their holes punched. Make sure that they are lining up and that they are all in the correct orientation. You want to make sure both of the holes on both signatures match each other. This is to ensure both signatures are aligned with our boxboard cover when it's time to sew them in. My holes appear to be aligned. Now that you're happy with that, set it aside. Okay, now let's get on to the fun part. Grab your box board, our cover. Now I've got a palette and a brush so that way I can apply my glue. This is my preference, I just think it's a little bit easier. I grab my paintbrush and I dip it into the glue, lathering it on, getting a generous amount of glue. The thicker your fabric, the thicker your glue will need to be to ensure that it adheres to the box board. If you have a really thin fabric, however, maybe use a little bit less to begin with, so that way you don't get too much bleed through. Bleed through is when the glue seeps through the fabric and it actually stains it in a way that doesn't look quite nice. So you want to try and avoid that by using a little bit less glue on those thinner fabrics. Now that we have our interior fabric, we're going to smooth it down. I like to do my interior fabric first, but you can do either way depending on what it is you'd like to achieve at the very end. But if we're going by the tutorial, I suggest that you guys copy everything that I do to the best of your ability, starting with this interior fabric. We want to press it down and get our ruler to really get into that crease again, guys, to make sure that the glue is nicely distributed across the entire journal surface. Flipping that over now, you can see we have a little bit of excess around. We just want to go ahead, lay down some glue and glue it down. Folding the edges over like so. And now I'm going to come along and cut these edges. Do the same on both sides, so that way they flip up, and make sure that the fabric is flat as well. Go ahead and cut off these little excess pieces and set them aside, but don't throw them away because we're going to use them for something later. Let's go ahead and now glue the rest of our edges down. Just press like that, lovely. And again, cutting off some of that excess that we don't need, beautiful. Our next side, and there we go. We have all of our edges laid down and glued. Let's set it aside and look at our digital kit. Now this is our main cover image, and all of the rest of the images are just illustrations to decorate the interior of your journal. Let's cut them out. Once you have them all cut out to your own liking, this is what I decided to do. I'm going to now put these ones aside and we're going to focus on that cover focal image. Move them out the way so we have space again. Okay, so this is the interior, as I said, guys. So we want to flip this over now and focus on the exterior, grabbing our exterior fabric as well. Now this is quite a thick fabric, and because it's so thick and bumpy, it's not going to be a nice place to glue our image. So I have a few options for you guys. I also have a music sheet that is included in every one of the journal kits that can be used as a collage. So I'm actually going to glue this image onto my music sheet first, so that way we can get a head start on our collage. Once you are all glued up, go and press it down like so. Nice pressure here, just making sure that it's all stuck down and it's not going to lift up. I'm going to come along with my ruler now and just tear away the edges so that way we have the right sort of size for our journal cover. Just like this, just gently tearing, there we go. So that's roughly the size of our journal. Now this is option 1. You can go ahead and glue the back of that and stick it onto your cover without the fabric first. Or it's option 2. If you have a really thin fabric, you can go ahead and glue the entire cover and stick down your exterior fabric. This is a really, really thin one, so it's not going to have any issues putting down this imagery on the front. So I'm just going to go ahead with my collage again, glue the back, stick it directly onto the fabric like so, and then my image as a nice layer. Now going back to our B journal, this one isn't going to work like that because of how thick it was. So what I'm going to do is glue that down first, and now I'm going to come along and glue down the fabric over the top. Don't worry, it's not going to be completely covered at the end. We're going to do this in sections, starting with the left side of our journal, gluing it down like so. Now with this part you want to be tricky with the glue. Don't glue the entire thing. You do not want to put glue on your illustration. You just want to put glue around the edges where it doesn't look so nice, or you can see the interior fabric peeking through. So I'm going to get quite close, but I still want my music sheet to be seen amongst the fabric. Going and adding as much glue as I need around all of my edges, including closer to my spine where we already have a little bit of glue. Grab your fabric now and press it down. Don't worry, we're going to cut it like I said. Press it down so it sticks really nicely, and then I want you to cut a hole in the middle where we haven't glued. Once you've cut your hole, you've got a little bit of a guideline as to where to cut to expose your illustration. This does not need to be perfect. It is something that is supposed to be fun, perfectly imperfect. Cut it out as you will, as you prefer. Be careful though, this particular fabric does shed, so make sure you don't get it stuck anywhere that you don't want it to be. Cut like this. Making sure everything is stuck down again, just pressing all the parts we want to remain stuck down. Anything that did lift, go ahead and glue down with a little bit of excess glue. Lovely. Okay, so now we have a lot of excess again, but instead of folding it over, we're just going to directly cut it off. Grabbing our scissors now, we're going to come along that edge and we're just going to snip nice and flush against that edge there. Cut. Perfect. Now we have a little bit of fabric excess. Don't throw this away, set it aside. We'll use it for something else later. Make sure that your fabric is all stuck down. Add extra glue where you need. Oh my goodness, you guys, our journal is coming together. This is exciting. Okay, so now I have these pieces here that I cut out because I want to make it into like a tuck spot. So a tuck spot is something that you can stick other things behind. We're just going to add some glue only to the edge, not the whole thing, just the edge, so we can slide things behind this piece of paper. Go around 3 edges of the illustration and stick it down on the bottom of your interior, like a little pocket. Beautiful. Do that for both sides. Like this. Stick. Wonderful. Okay, we're really cooking right now. Okay, so now we're going to be punching the holes in our spine. This is so we can sew in our signatures. Now my one is a little bit thicker than yours, but it's okay because I have the dimensions that you need. So your spine is 2.5 centimeters in width, so you want to mark 0.8 centimeters and 1.99 centimeters. You want to put a dot at those points, and that is going to be what you are going to be punching through with your needle once we get to it. Once you've done the bottom, do the top and make sure that your ruler is flush to the edge of your box board, your cover, whatever you'd like to call it at this stage, and do those dots for me. Once you've done the top and the bottom, make sure your ruler is flush again, just like we did with our paper signatures, and find the 12. You want to then put a dot next to 12 as well for each of the dots. Make sure they're lined up nice and straight before you go and mark the spine. You should have 2 sets of 3 dots, all in a line. Grabbing your thimble now, I highly recommend using a thimble for this part. We're going to now punch our holes, sticking our needle through and flipping our journal over just to press it down like so. Wonderful. Go ahead now and punch all of the holes that you marked with your pen. All of these holes are going to be for your signatures to sew in. Our journal is going to come together really quickly now, guys, and it's about to get tricky. I'm going to speed up this part because, as you guys know, you only have 2 signatures. This journal, however, has 4. You can use so many more signatures in your journals and make larger ones. I have plenty of videos with many different types of journals that I make, so go and check those out after this video if you're curious to see just how much you can make with a journal. Now that your holes are punched, we can set that aside and start sewing in our signatures. Now with your string, I want you to cut it directly in half because we are about to sew in our signatures. You have 2 signatures, so you need 2 pieces of string. Go ahead and thread the string through your needle. You want to drive your needle through the middle hole first, pulling your string all the way through until there's about this much excess. You want some to hang out so you don't lose your string completely. Now moving it to the side, go ahead now and put that needle through the center hole of your cover. Push it through. This could be a little bit difficult, so be careful. And then now, since you've gone through the middle hole, you want to go right back up to the top and push it through the top hole of your cover, pulling it through. And then you want to go through the top hole of your signature, pushing it through, making sure it's going through every single one of the pages. Pull it all the way down now to the bottom hole, and you want to push it through the other side. Once your needle is through, go ahead and push it through the bottom hole of your cover. Once that is through, you want to push it all the way, pull it out, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, so look closely. I want you guys to put it through the middle hole again, but don't get it through your thread. You want to make sure both strings remain separate. Pull it through like so, and then you're going to go again through the middle hole without going through the string that's already there. If you go through the string that's already there, you won't be able to tension it when it comes to tying it. As you can see, my needle went through the thread, so I'm just going to pull that out like that and slide it over the top. You want one piece of string going under the main middle string and one piece of string going on the opposite side like this. Now to tension it, you're going to pull upwards, and you want to tension until you can't pull it anymore, but don't pull it too hard or you may break your string. You just want to make sure there's no gaps and that it's quite tight on the back. Wonderful. Now that you think that the tension is right and you've tightened it one more time, you can go ahead and tie a knot. This is going to secure your signature in place. I like to do a double knot, and then I like to do bunny ears, get all that excess dust out the way. Do some bunny ears, and then I want you to double knot the bunny ears again, just to really make sure that signature is not going to go anywhere or come undone. Now we've got quite a long tail, so let's cut off the excess and set that string aside. Again, not throwing it away, just putting it aside for now. Repeat this process until all your signatures are sewn in. There you go, guys, you have a journal. All your pages are now sewn in and your cover is decorated. How beautiful is this? You finally have your own junk journal. Okay, so now let's move on to all the other illustrations that we have cut out in advance. Now we're going to use some of our excess string now. Let's punch a hole through some of the larger illustrations. You can do whatever you like. This is just what I'm going to do. This is just a preference. I'm going to use the larger ones that I've got, and I'm going to put some string through them so that way they're like a little journaling card on thread. Just another way to use your excess string without wasting it. Junk journals are all about repurposing and recycling, so let's use as much of our offcuts as possible. Once we have tied a knot on these journaling cards, we can leave them as they are. I'm also going to be putting a hole through my honey jar. That way I can tie off the excess string that I have remaining. Try and use as much as you can. As I said, it doesn't matter if they're long or short. You can now stick them in that tuck spot that we created earlier. Now I want you guys to go ahead and glue in your envelopes. Let's grab our glue out and lather it on, getting all of those edges nice and glued up as well. Just like this. Wonderful. Now we're going to flip our envelope over onto the very first page of our journal. Like this. Folding it over now and pressing it down to make sure it doesn't lift up. Wonderful. Press, 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 press. Now we have a flip out envelope. We have one more envelope to glue in, but first let's go ahead and do a little collage on the front of this envelope using up more of our discarded pieces and materials. I'm going to use some of my music paper now and just do like a mini little collage using also some of the illustrations. Lathering on some more glue, like that. Just glue it down, press it down as well, like this. Wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to glue the back of my illustration. This is the bee that I chose. Just going to press him down now as well. Make sure he's nice and stuck there. Wonderful. Okay, there's our cute little collage. You can make this a lot more decorated if you like, but I like this minimal approach. Let's now flip over to the very last page and put in our next envelope. Repeating that process, opening it up, getting our glue and lathering it on. Wonderful. Glue, glue, glue. Like this. Wonderful. Once you're happy with the amount of glue that you've put down, open up the page and fold it over the edge, pressing it down and securing it in place. Wonderful. There we go. Now again, let's use some of that music sheet and do another little mini collage using our illustrations. Get your glue now, glue down whichever pieces you like. I like these two bees. I think they're very, very cute. Voila, look at that. Glue the last one down. Pick him up now. He's all sticky. Let's grab him, try and get him into the right spot and place him down. Wonderful. There we go. There's my second little mini collage on my envelopes. Okay, now that those are pressed down in place, we got another flip out. Awesome. We can stick more things in there, bits and pieces. Now I want to make another little tuck spot using our leftover fabric. This is called a belly band, and a belly band is basically just a bit of fabric or paper that isn't entirely glued down, so that way you can stick stuff behind it. I'm sticking some glue on the top and the bottom of my page, but not the middle because I don't want the whole thing to be glued down, remember? And then I'm sticking down my fabric and pressing it down. Like this. Beautiful. Cut off that excess that's hanging over the edge of our page. Trim, trim, trim. Wonderful. We can save those other pieces as well for later. And as you can see, there's a nice little spot now. We can stick some paper. Beautiful. That looks really, really good. Let's go ahead now and do another little tuck spot by using a little bit of glue, but only on one side of this illustration. We want one half to glue to the paper and the other half to be free to use as another tuck spot for more pieces of paper or ephemera that we want to stick into our journal. Beautiful. Get all that glue excess, wipe it away. See, we can stick one of our journaling cards in now. It's a nice little trusty spot on your page. Now, all of those leftover corners from our bee fabric, let's just glue them around randomly so that way we use them up. They're really cute illustrations and it would be a waste to just throw them away. Press, press, press. Beautiful. Now let's go and glue in all of the rest of our illustrations and do as many little collages as we feel necessary on the random pages. I am so excited with how this journal is turning out. It doesn't matter where you put your illustrations or how you decorate your journal. This is entirely up to you. I have quite a bit of excess, so let's do another belly band just for another spot to tuck some more things. Press that down, cut off the excess, glue down some bees, more bees, bee galore, and beautiful. Another little one here and one up there. This is looking so great. More fabric, press that down in place. I love texture. Texture is amazing. Texture is the best part of a junk journal in my opinion. We're running low on bees now, adding some more fabric. Oh my goodness, you guys, it's coming together. Let's use our paper clips to also stick down some of our illustrations, and voila, look at that. We have a decorated junk journal. Well done, you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying your junk journal. Let's jazz it up a little bit more so I can make it my own. Feel free to go and add any other bits of fabric or things that you have lying around your house that you want to add to your junk journal to make it as unique as you are. I just love how this journal turned out. It is so cute. Let me give you guys a little tour. I added some more pages, some more journaling cards and illustrations throughout my journal. You guys can do whatever you like, as I said, but this is just a little bit of inspiration for you guys. We have something for our belly bands, all full, and of course this is a blank journal mostly, but it's ready to be filled with all of your precious memories. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that you guys have finished this tutorial now. Let's tie off my journal, and I guess we're gonna have to go say our little goodbyes. I hope you have enjoyed this process. Tie, 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 and done. Well done, you have now completed your very own junk journal. Be sure to post your creation to my Facebook group, Maddire's Memory Keepers. I would love to see how you guys altered and changed and made this journal your own. By joining the journaling community, you'll be able to follow along to monthly prompts, be inspired, and make new friends. If you would like to see all the different ways you can use your junk journal, click the video over here, or the link will be in the description. Did you love this tutorial? Please let me know in the comments so I can improve future videos. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know how to make or know about junk journaling. I hope you enjoyed this process and are obsessed with journals now. Please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all my future junk journal creations. That being said, guys, I love you so much. Bye. Thank you so much for being here. Happy journaling.